Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War mythic of the Medusa. This is the final week to get her from the Hellcrag Monument, aka campaign number 10. So, she has had 3 release dates, of course, as do all of the campaign mythics. The first one was last week's Monday when the Super Paid Pass gets it. Yesterday when the normal Paid Pass gets it, and you have until the end of the campaign to get it that way. And other than that, it will be available through normal means, either whenever it comes in Soulforge in a couple months, or whenever Mystic Scales has another event, you'll be able to get it in the event key drop table. After some amount of time, she'll also be in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chests, so realistically, it's very unlikely to get it through that method due to all the mythics that are within the drop table. So if you're playing free-to-play, event keys, or when it's next to Soulforge for 4,000 diamonds, are likely going to be your 2 ways, and of course event keys specifically during Mystic Scales. As far as the trip itself, we can actually see it over here in the campaign menu. If we go all the way to the end here, we can end up seeing Medusa. So 90% of her main gimmick is her 2 traits right back here. Impervious, which gives her immune to most stats effects, as well as Curse and Stun. So every single time she takes an extra turn, she'll be able to curse, stun an enemy, and if the enemy just has a standard stunner that isn't a curse stun kind of combination, she'll be able to maintain her curse stun as well. So this is going to be a very good option to be able to disable your enemy's traits. Synergize really well with things that kind of already do similar, like Elementalist as well, so you could do Elementalist and her, and this will bypass things that you normally wouldn't be able to get through, like Impervious, for example, as Curse gets rid of the Impervious, and then you can simply stun it out. Just a great way to end up removing the stats effects on the opposing team, while having it all nice and bundled in one single troop, as there are many ways to curse stun within the game, particularly 4 times curse stun to just do the whole team simultaneously, but this is essentially the only option that can do it specifically on the trait, and just do the whole thing. There are some that could do it between the trait and the ability, or just the ability, but this one can do it just through its trait. So if you want a team composition that can do it just as simply one troop so that your other 3 can do something else, this is one of those instances where it can end up getting the job done better than a few other things in the game. Overall, it is a bit towards the average side, a little bit above average. It's a very situational utility troop, as there are already things that do close enough to it, like Elementalists, that you generally won't need to do it, except for the rarest of circumstances. It also has an ability, of course. The ability's average. It takes a while to get rolling, which is a problem with some of the mythics because it already has such a high mana cost that it having a high time before it can start being used is problematic in many situations. However, it ends up dealing a bunch of true damage to an enemy, boosted by stone blocks. Then it converts 8 of them, or 8 of one of their colors, to stone blocks. So this is interesting in that every single subsequent cast, assuming the board has not been cleared, it will end up doing a substantially higher amount of damage. After the first one, it's going to be doing 40 higher true damage, which is pretty substantial. Then after that, if none of them have been touched, it's going to be 80, which is, in most situations, in a PvP-like situation in the current state of the game, will be normally enough to one-shot the enemy. However, that takes a lot of setup. You're already casting her for a 3rd time by that point. But you can also use them to kind of block out the board, so if you're creating a lot of a single color or something similar, you can end up using it to get mana accumulation a little bit better. Overall, its ability is definitely not its strong suit, and you're using it almost entirely for its impervious into the Curse Stone or Stone Curse mechanic that it has here. So let's go and mess with this troop and to show a few teams. So let's go over to PvP, and hopefully they won't end up failing, as gosh, some of the PvP teams are very annoying, like this Life and Death Weaver we have here. So this is an interesting circumstance where what we have will both work and not work. He has a interesting counter, Invulnerable. So Invulnerable is not like Impervious. Impervious you can end up cursing. You cannot curse Invulnerable, however, so that will be a little bit annoying. However, we do have Rope Dart on this particular team, so we will be able to handle it. The other slight annoying thing is he's probably stealthied here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, sometimes people forget, but yeah, he is stealthied. So this will lead to a bit of a weird situation as far as our damage output, because we don't really have a good way to deal with Life and Death Weaver in this particular situation, but let's hope it ends up working out. If nothing else, if we can get Curse Stun on the Weaver, we're going to be in a pretty good position. Actually, same as the Hero. Hero doesn't have immune to it either. Unfortunately, not the greatest board to be starting with here. Ideally, with a team like this, we want to be starting by taking as many green as we possibly can, and at least we denied the skull there, though to some degree I kind of want him taking the skull. We're going to get a Rope Dart here. Oh, also, we're using Beatrix for Cleanse, so this will be able to place a lot of stats effects onto the enemy. So even though these two have immune, because they have the Invulnerable trait, what doesn't have immune is, of course, Impervious. which is one of the main things that you would use this for. So now we can just go target either of these two out. So let's say we want to go for heroes. It's a little bit more annoying. I want to do this just so he doesn't revive 1,500 times during this video. So for the sake of speed there, we'll go and take him out first. And now we can go use Weaver. So we can go bring them into Weaver range, even though we can't necessarily... Actually, we can target it now that it's stunned first, and now even more so. But well, basically what we're trying to do here is get it into Weaver range off of Beatrix. And we can also do the same thing with Medusa, as her damage output's not the greatest until she started casting. So we can simply Weaver down into one-shot range and then go from there. Actually, we might not even need the Medusa cast here, though we'll cast it just to finish it out, because it's the only thing we have. And then it creates some stone blocks, which you can use for mana accumulation. If you're using a double gem spawner like Beatrix, it might not work out as well. But in some of these other teams, we're using a single gem spawner that will be able to utilize it a little bit better here. So we have our rope dart team after we're switching out of a rope dart team. So this one's 4x monster. It's based around the crystal axe. So this ends up dealing damage to an enemy boosted by monster allies, then creates a mix of green and brown. So you can end up doing this to fill up basically the monster version of the Thrall. And we're kind of using a Weaver here with Medusa. It's just kind of a good combo, generally for her. You normally want a double true damage option. What exactly those two are depends on what you want to run. Obviously, one of those other ones that'd be really good is doing it with Beatrix there and having that combination go down like we were with the previous team. However, you normally want, it's not required, but you generally normally want to have a true damage follow-up with her, as her own true damage, depending on that to actually get a kill, is pretty inconsistent without something to do just a little bit of chip damage to help get into range. In this case, we actually want to get Weaver in range, of course, so we're going to probably just allow it to do its ability. Oh, it's not actually entangled on the other one, though. So this leaves us with a couple situations. What I ideally want to do is double check if he has stealthy on hero. He does not. So one thing that we could do, and hope he doesn't take brown, is we can go and hit him with the true damage poke and then kill him out with Weaver. First, we have to make sure that's actually enough damage by calculating out, and that's what, 137? That is indeed enough damage, unless I miscalculated there. But yeah, that's enough to kill, as long as he doesn't get barrier. He does not get barrier, so we're in a pretty good position here. So we'll just take this over, get another cursed stun, which we want to be getting as much as we possibly can. And of course, this allows us to place other status effects, like, for example, web. If anything here had immune to web, like, for example, I'm not sure if we saw it last battle, necessarily, but Orb Weaver hero class that we saw the previous battle has immune to web. However, if it's cursed stunned, well, we don't have to worry about it's immune to web, so Weaver can actually land it then. So we're just going to go for another Weaver here, just because it's in range, so might as well. I might be able to get a cleanup kill off of that, just not for degree. We're just going to do that, kill it out, and let Medusa get the kill, might as well. If this was actually like a Guild War situation, we'd probably want a Weaver, though this isn't a pure color team. However, you know what is a pure color team? I believe this next one, as I did do one of them in pure color, and I don't believe we have used it yet. So here we have a very annoying web spinner team that might actually end up killing us as a book. This would be funny if we had a pure purple team to fight against it. However, it's half purple, so we're kind of doing it. So here we have a basically a Chalcedony team that's using Medusa. This is basically a triple team trying to put Medusa in. This you can do if you're using her as a utility troop. You can kind of plop her into a triple team that already works, have her benefit from the extra turns, and just keep applying her stun. If it's in a situation where you really need Curse Stun. For example, right here, Thief normally isn't targetable, but now it is, because we just got rid of it. If it gets a kill, it won't be able to get that 7% insta-kill to auto-win. It doesn't have its annoying summons, doesn't have its Hunter's Mark anymore. We end up getting rid of a lot of it. Actually, it's a triple summon set right now. Or sorry, double summon. Wait, does it have all three? It has one, two... No, it only has double summon. It doesn't have its third right now. But yeah, it can get a third. So yeah, it only has the double, but still the two most annoying ones. The 25% chance to summon when it casts, or anything casts, and a 35% or anything on its team cast, and a 35% chance when something dies to get a bandit. However, both those things are now disabled, and we don't have to worry about them. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop in power. So right here, I was gonna go for this. Hope he doesn't have a power alignment. I'm not even double checking for it because we just need the mana. Luckily, he did indeed miss. I'm just gonna go for a board clear and hope it does not backfire. So we're gonna do that. Get a bunch of mana accumulation. Get a gargoyle gem there as well. And now we are in a pretty good position. Every single thing has full mana. We probably want to focus on killing hero first just because it's the most annoying thing, so let's start doing that. And now that's Curse Stun, we actually can. Normally it would have Stealthy, as you can see right over... Oh, he didn't set it. But pretend he had Stealthy. He doesn't have Stealthy anymore, so now we could target him. Normally on Thief you would run Stealthy. That's pretty much one of the main reasons for running Thief. A little bit weird that it isn't running it with it. But it doesn't matter, because regardless it's stunned, Curse Stun, so it would be disabled there. So we'll go and I guess work on the Zenith next. Technically, Zenith's not part of its team. However, it is there. We still have that event for the rest of the week, of course. That's from the other event, not from the campaign specifically. So we'll go and poke that out. I'm like trying to bring it into kill ranges if we can kill it with a Weaver. The other two used Weaver. However, we don't necessarily need to do that. There's no Weaver on this team. We can still kill with Medusa, though similar as I mentioned before, we're not really using her for ability. Even though we have been casting her here and there, she's in most teams that she's going to be used in. There are a lot of battles where she probably won't cast a single time, unless you just want to use her for fun for the finisher if it happens to be closer than a different option, as you really just don't need it a lot of times. You're mostly just using her. Oh, but one thing we can do though, let's say we didn't already have all the setup to end up winning, because I didn't actually show this yet. We could do this to put a bunch of stone blocks, and now we can end up making the board smaller. So whenever we do a pure color, like something like this, it'll have a little bit of a more condensed board to end up lining on. This does not work as well if you're doing a double color, but on something specifically like that, where we're doing a single color, it will more often than not actually increase the chance of landing an extra turn, not decrease it, due to the easier chance it'll have to align next to each other. But anyways, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for Medusa. Overall, a pretty decent utility troop. I don't feel like I'll be using it that often. There are already other things that can end up doing this mechanic. Actually, he's using one right here. There's 4 times stun, there's 4 times curse. There's already troops that can do it off of cast. There's elementalists existing. However, it is unique in that its curse stun is specifically off of traits, while some other things could do it off of ability. Having off that trait right there makes it very passive, so you could just plop it down in a team that already functions very well as a triple option and use it as a utility option. So if you have a triple option that's already viable in any given meta, and you just want a little bit of disable, Medusa is probably going to be used those situations, and those are likely the main areas where we'll end up shining. Teams that are already good as 3 that have a flexible 4 spot that you'll want to run curse stun in, and that's pretty much our whole purpose, is being impervious curse stun, and we use almost entirely for that and barely ever for ability, though you can kind of condense down the board, use single color spam, and kind of use our ability some, but you do have to sacrifice your turn for it. And then, you know, occasionally she'll get a kill after some time by building up damage. Overall, it's definitely a above average utility troop that will likely not get to see much play in most situations. Like, I know personally, I'll probably try using it in Guild War this week, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use any going forward. Unless there was a really important reason to run Curse Stun because they have some kind of absurd trait that you want to get rid of. Maybe they have a 4 times stun of their own that they want to end up utilizing, or, you know, something similar that you just have to remove. It's also really good for getting rid of those stealthy hero classes, as we actually saw twice during this video here. So it's kind of good for those kind of options. But anyways, if you still have any other questions or any teams that you end up mentioning or end up doing with it, definitely feel free to mention in the comment section below. If you want any of that we showed here, they're all in the description if you want to go copy paste any of them. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.